The scary truth is the fat that you see right now is not the most dangerous fat. And most of you are ignoring the damage that it's doing inside of you. I have pro Josh Bridgman, and I've coached over 1,200 men, just like you watching this video, to not only remove the body fat that you can see, the hidden fat that is around your organs can wreck your health, your fitness, your hormones, and your confidence. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how, a step-by-step procedure of how you can remove that, and this is what I implement with all of my clients in my program. First things first, what is visceral fat? Visceral fat is like the hidden fat you can't see. So when you're pinching yourself like this and you can feel that fat around your hips, around your belly, it's not that fat. Visceral fat is that deep fat that surrounds your organs, that is ultimately buried deep into your body, around your abdominal cavity. It surrounds your liver, surrounds your kidneys, surrounds everything. And this fat is some of the most lethal that you can do. The higher the visceral fat that you have, that directly increases all-cause mortality, which essentially means speeds up the process of dying. So it's a very, very good idea to make sure that you're controlling this visceral fat long-term and addressing it when potentially you're not even feeling it because it's on the inside. And that is the problem with visceral fat. So you can't see it. So even if you're lean and healthy, you might have these visceral fats according to what you're eating, what you're doing, and how your lifestyle is. Because remember, not everyone is the same. The thing that's most terrifying about it is not just sat there doing nothing. Instead, it's pumping out chemicals that can disrupt your hormones. That can drive diabetes, heart disease, and like I said, increase all-cause mortality. Heart attacks, strokes, cancers, all of those things are massively increased when you have high levels of visceral fat. We're talking about the difference of looking a little soft around the edges to having a metabolic time bomb, metaphorically, inside of you, waiting to go off at any point. So it's super important that you do address these factors before it becomes too late. I think one of the things that affects me most as a coach is you don't necessarily see the negatives that are going on in your body, and you can seemingly have a healthy physique on the outside because healthy is directly linked to how much body fat you have these days. And it doesn't address what you do for your habits, your recovery, and ultimately eradicating these things that could be making your life a little bit worse long term. Remember guys, you could be lean, you might even have a six-pack, but if you're not got the right habits in place that are ultimately making the chances of visceral fat. I think one of the things that is most worrying to me as an online coach and a coach who's been doing this for 10 years now is you can seemingly look healthy on the outside, but not necessarily be healthy on the inside. Trust me, take it from someone who takes steroids. I feel great, but I know that as soon as I look at my blood work, I know that there's issues. And that is the perfect example of how visceral fat can work. You might feel great. You might even have a six-pack. I've worked with guys who are 180 pounds and have visible abs, and yet when we look at their visceral fat, it's high. And we know that through the habits, they're increasing their risk of all of these things happening. I've also seen guys who are 220 pounds, maybe they carry a little bit more external body fat, but they have much healthier internal systems because of the healthy habits that they've got and actually the visceral fat stopping habits that they do have. The scary part is, and I know I've mentioned this a few times in this video to make you guys realize, it's linked to type 2 diabetes, it's linked to heart disease, it's linked to stroke, it's linked to sleep apnea. And here's the kicker for most of you guys watching, it can absolutely crush testosterone production, which is why you might be asking yourself why you're in your 30s and need TRT, or thinking about TRT, or even thinking why your testosterone is low, why you can't have strong erection, why you can't get horny like you used to in your 20s. It could be linked to visceral fat. So like I said, in this video, I'm going to break down some of these things that you can do to massively turn that around. Let's get into some specifics. Let's get into some things. Now, it's really, really important. I'm gonna save you years of confusion and worry. There is no magic food. There is no special tea. There is no special pill. There is not one thing that is going to just, you do now, tomorrow, visceral fat's gone. It's gonna be a process over time that is gonna increase that chance of visceral fat coming down. Now, I'm gonna start with nutrition. Now, of course, you guys are already thinking, of course we've got to eat right. But we live in a world where if effects and macros dominates, calories in versus calories out really actually matters. So on paper, yes, you can eat McDonald's every day and lose body weight, but it's what that food contains that is going to starch visceral fat onto you. And it's pretty common sense, right? Triglycerides running high from poor food, processed foods crashing your blood sugar up and down. These are the foods we have to eradicate. So single ingredient foods, what does that mean? There's pretty much one ingredient. Sure, there's going to be a few other things in a lot of the things that we have right now to keep them on the shelf a little bit longer, but you guys already know what I'm thinking about. Rice, oats, lean proteins, eggs, fish. You guys have already got the right idea. Vegetables, fruit. And these are going to be the things that are going to help clear up that visceral fat if you've been having a few too many processed foods. And that is one thing that absolutely starches it. We live for the weekend, we live for the takeaways at the weekend, that all you can eat Chinese, that Indian food, that is the stuff that is sticking visceral fat on you. So I really, really implore you to tighten it up as much as you can over the week, and it's going to massively reduce that. One of the key ingredients that I want you to focus about when it comes to nutrition is your protein intake. Protein, of course, builds muscle, retains muscle, which helps build metabolism. This helps you eat a little bit more on a deficit, but more importantly, it keeps you fuller for longer. It's got a higher satiating index. It's also got a higher thermic effect of feeding, which means that it takes a few more calories to burn than it does the other macronutrients. So if you can stay fuller for longer, you can build more muscle with it. You can have higher satiety, which means you don't crave as much food. That's a good idea. And we know the calculation, it's about 1 gram per pound of body weight. If you want to get a little bit more anal about it and you don't want to have too much protein, you could do 1 gram per pound of lean body weight, but I would definitely go towards just 1 gram per pound. I think more protein is going to help you long term. It's going to help you keep you a little bit fuller, so you don't lean towards those foods that can massively ramp up visceral fat. So to summarize it, prioritize those whole foods, lean meats, fish, eggs, meat, chicken. Prioritize good carbohydrates, oats, things that are mainly rice-based, and then of course, vegetables and fruits. Having a well-balanced diet is always better than having a single macro or micronutrient dominant diet. So making sure you're covering those bases, making sure you're eating to the absolute macros that you need. Again, if you're eating in a calorie surplus, you're gaining unwanted body fat, you're probably giving yourself a higher chance of accumulating that visceral fat long term. Now, let's talk about training. This is actually one of the biggest parts about getting rid of that visceral fat, that fat that's killing you slowly inside. You need to train in terms of strength training, but you also need to do cardio. And there's very specific types of cardio that can help directly torch that body fat, which we're going to go into just after we work through training. Now, strength training, I really want you to get at least 3 to 4 strength trainings per week. If you're cut for time, busy guy, family, work, priorities, life, do 3. 3 is really, really good. You do not need more than 45 to 60 minutes if you appropriately program yourself. Focus on compound movements at the beginning, working into isolation movements at the end. This is going to ensure that you get big bang for your buck exercises out first, stimulate muscle protein synthesis, which is the building of new muscle. Building muscle will burn body fat, will improve metabolism, will stave off sarcopenia, will make you healthier for a longer period of time. So if you're not training at all, this is the video that you need to stimulate your brain to go, I should be training. It's going to keep me alive for longer. It's going to use the glycogen that you're eating. It's going to use the protein that you're eating, right? Which is 2 of the things that we need to do to have a metabolic turnover that is appropriate for ourselves. So making sure you're training 3 to 4 times a week, focus on compound movements, move into isolation movements. What I would say about training is if you could put intensity, which I'm going to say is how hard a set feels, a session feels, out of 10 on that scale, I want you training it above a 7. So this means that you don't go in, lift a few weights, do a few bicep curls, do a few overheads, and then leave. No, you want to go in there and you want to work hard, because if you haven't got enough time, working hard's all you've got. And if you do have enough time, you're going to be farting around for 2 hours and not getting a lot done. 7 out of 10, right? You pick up that weight, you move it 10 times. On the 10th rep, you cannot physically move it anymore. You can just drop back 2 reps from that. The rep ranges, the sets are largely unimportant, because as soon as you start to up the intensity, the sets and the reps are going to fall in themselves. So really, really focus on the intensity of the workouts. As we move on to cardio, there's a few different types of cardio. You guys might have heard of it. LISS, low intensity steady state cardio, HIIT, high intensity interval training. I'm actually going to say you need both of these to help move visceral fat and of course body fat overall. What's the most important muscle in your body? What's the thing that keeps you alive? It's your heart, right? How do we train the heart? Of course, strength training is going to train the heart. But most importantly, keeping your heart rate at a higher level for an extended period of time is what is going to train your heart more efficiently. So that means we need some low intensity steady state cardio. This is going to improve insulin sensitivity. This is going to improve your digestion. This is going to improve how you turn over food. This is going to improve your calorie output. This is going to improve your metabolism. But most importantly, it's going to improve your cardiovascular endurance, which is a good thing because it means you can run with the kids. It means you can play with the kids. It means you don't go up a flight of stairs and get out of breath. And if you are going up a flight of stairs or going for a slightly longer walk or doing something that's a little bit more physically demanding and you're finding yourself out of breath, that is one of the key signs that you're carrying too much visceral fat and maybe too much body weight overall. So increasing and implementing some low intensity steady state cardio is going to be your first port of call. I recommend doing this 1 or 2 times per week. You've obviously got the baseline level of 3 strength trainings. Now we've got 1 or 2 steady state cardio sessions. And then we can work into high intensity interval training, the thing that no one does, but everyone should be doing. Now, high intensity interval training is one of those things that will just torch body fat long term and visceral fat long term. Why? Because you don't just stop burning calories in that first initial 20 minutes, however long you're doing it. But you have something called EPOC, which is essentially the demand of energy that you require to replenish glycogen, to replenish oxygen post-workout. And you only really get that from high intensity interval training. So it's really, really important that you do it. Now, another good thing about high intensity interval training, it's going to improve your blood glucose dramatically. It's also going to improve your blood pressure significantly more than anything else. Why? Because you're basically exercising blood pressure, right? You're increasing blood pressure when you're exercising really, really hard and you're doing the sprint, and then you're promoting the reduction of your blood pressure when you stop. This exercise of increasing, decreasing is actually going to improve your blood pressure function. So it's one of the first things that we do for anyone who comes into our program who suffers with high blood pressure. Are you doing high intensity interval training? No, let's implement it. Now, a really, really simple way to do it is essentially just 1 minute on, 1.5 minutes off. If you find that 1 minute on is way too much for you, just do 30 seconds. If that's too much for you, do 15 seconds. And I want you to slowly increase that up towards that minute. It's very, very difficult to sprint for a minute. It really, really is. That is why, you know, we look at a 400 meters, which for men probably is about, especially at the high level, they're running about 45 seconds or so. They're almost saving the sprint until the end because they can't quite sustain it for that long. So we definitely want to be working towards that minute over a long period of time. Then, depending on how your recovery is, how your endurance is, how your recoverability is, take that minute off. Maybe you need 2 minutes off, maybe you need 3 minutes off. But the goal should be to increase the output and decrease the recovery over time. That's the way that you can progress it. But high intensity interval training is going to be one of the best things that you can do to massively reduce that visceral fat. So if we have the combination of strength training, low intensity steady state cardio, high intensity interval training, that is like a metabolic furnace to increase your metabolism, to build muscle, to improve your insulin sensitivity, to improve your blood pressure, to improve your digestion. Like, you are improving everything that makes you a healthy human. Reduces your cholesterol, improves your liver markers, your kidney markers. If you can combine all of those things, you're doing yourself a big, big favor long term. But it doesn't just stop there. In fact, we can take this even deeper and we can work into your lifestyle factors, which can be some of the things that could undo all that hard work that you're doing in the gym. So if you find you're doing all the work in the gym, but you're not seeing either the physical change or the change to how you feel day to day, you're not seeing the change to your visceral fat, could be the easy things like the lifestyle factors that we're going to work into right now. So we work into pillar 3, nutrition, training, lifestyle. There's 3 things that I want to cut on, that I want to talk about, because these are the 3 most common things that I see. There might be a few other things that you could think about of lifestyle, and if I do think of them as I go along, I will throw them in, but these are the 3 main things that I see the modern man fail on. Now, the first thing is going to be alcohol. I know, you don't want to hear it, but alcohol doesn't just add empty calories. Instead, it promotes, like, it actively promotes you sticking visceral fat on. Let alone you combine that with the kebab at the end of the night or whatever it is that you end up eating. Even if you don't end up eating it, it's still going to increase the probability of you attenuating more visceral fat. The real answer is there is no room for alcohol consistently in anyone's life, in my opinion, unless you're drinking organic fresh wine from the fucking Andes, 1 glass. There's no room for beer. There's no room for spirits, in my opinion. They are poison, right? Of course, you can pick your poison. You can have a few nights here and there. You can have a birthday. I'm not here to be an alcohol Nazi. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to get you results and to make sure you torch visceral fat off. And don't get me wrong, get in the best shape of your life, reduce all the visceral fat that you've got, maybe drink here and there is okay, right? In fact, if we look into blue zones, and blue zones are areas of the world that have the highest amount of people living above 100, actually there is some alcohol in some of these places, right? There's a few in Okinawa, or there's one in Okinawa, they drink a little sake over here. There's a one in Italy, I can't remember where, they drink red wine every now and again, right? So alcohol isn't necessarily the be all and end all, but the alcohol that we drink, the beers, the cider, the spirits, the mixing with other things that are sugary and sweet, that's where we're just having the problem, right? So if you find yourself in a bit of a life crisis of like, you hate the way you look, you hate the way they feel, you can't fucking walk upstairs, just stop the alcohol right now. If you find yourself, you're on that fence of like, I wish I just want to get a little bit healthier. Just don't waste it on those empty calories. You know, don't do it every weekend. Maybe don't even do it once a month. Maybe just start to go once every other month. Maybe start to do it once or twice a year. For me, I drink a couple times a year. Right? It's a little bit different. I'm an athlete and I can understand that, but all of my clients aren't. Drinking actually just is part of their life. It's something that they are happy to take that risk with. That's fine. Just start thinking about what you're drinking, how you're drinking it, how often you're drinking it, and assess your risk versus reward ratio. So alcohol is going to be my first one. The next one's going to be stress. Now, we live in that life where you can open your phone, see someone do better than you and feel stressed. You could get a tax bill you don't want. You could get an extra paper on your desk that you've got to finish. You might get some pressure from your wife to pick up the kids and you've got too much on to do that. There are so many things that can increase stress levels that you've got to try and do your best to decrease them. Now, that's easier said than done. I appreciate it, but stress releases cortisol, and cortisol is like a fertilizer for organ fat, ultimately. So you got to find what works for you. What is it in your life that gives you peace? Is it a walk? Is it journaling? Is it meditation? Is it finding a sauna and ice bath? Going to the gym doesn't count. I know, me as a gym bro, I used to say that working out is my meditation. You get the mental benefits of meditation in the gym, but you're not getting the physical benefits because you're actually causing stress while you train. Doing cardio and having 30 minutes to yourself, you're still causing stress. Reducing stress is calm. It's heart rate down. It's breathing rate down. And you gotta try and think, what are the things that do that for you? You know, it doesn't mean going on the Xbox and getting into a Warzone competition, you know, Call of Duty or FIFA, and you're shouting. That's the same thing. You're reducing the same hormones as if you were highly stressed. So you've got to find that time to calm down, to reduce your stress, and have some peace once a day. That's my advice in this video too. Get some peace once a day and just see if you can feel the effects of that. Some people, it could be 10 breaths in the morning. It could be 10 breaths when you get stressed. It could be 10 breaths before bed. For me, I do ice baths, I do saunas. I find that I can sit there and just, doze out and look at the surroundings I'm in. Fortunately, I'm in Bali right now, so it's a bit easier for me to do that. But if you're in a concrete jungle, you've got to find something for yourself that can just decrease that stress. Of course, there are some supplements that can help reduce stress, but you're putting a band-aid, a plaster on a wound that's gonna remain open, and you have to fix the wound first. So the wound is being super stressed. So I want you to really focus on that. The next thing is going to be sleep. Now, 7 to 9 hours, non-negotiable. I don't care if you feel fine after 5 or 6 hours. I'm telling you, for you to be one of the 1 in a million people, and this is real, 1 in a million people, the number might be slightly off. I know it's really, really high, are actually physiologically, psychologically, biologically okay under 7 hours. There's very, very few people like that. Just because you feel okay after 6 hours doesn't mean you are okay. Trust me, push that between 7 to 9 hours, you're going to feel better. It's going to reduce the cortisol like we just mentioned. It's going to reduce hunger cravings. It's going to reduce your ability to gain body fat. It's going to increase your ability to gain muscle. It's going to increase your satiety. It's going to increase your brain power. It's going to make you think and function better. It's going to make you make better decisions. There's a reason why, I'm sure you guys have seen those sleep-deprived videos of, I think if you're over 20 hours without sleep, it's the same as being like over the limit when you're drinking. Well, when you're impaired, you don't make the right decisions for yourself. And if you don't make the right decisions for yourself when it comes to food, when it comes to training, when it comes to lifestyle, you might not crash your car, but you might crash your own body. And that's something you got to consider. So sleeping well is going to be one of the best things that you can do. Poor sleep jacks up your cortisol, increases your hunger hormones, makes your body want to surround fat around those organs. That is like a byproduct of it. So before I wrap up, I need you to make the mental shift right now. Stop obsessing over the 30-day transformations, how I can look shredded in 20 days and lose belly fat in 1 week. I've seen too many good men in their 40s and 50s just get blindsided by health problems that they could have just prevented. Like, the health problems that you face in 10 years are because of what's happening right now. So it's really important you take the action right now. Stop looking for the quick fix. The only quick fix that you can get is losing some body fat in 30 days, getting really, really hungry, probably suffering elsewhere, getting to the end of the 30 days, your job is done, and then you just put it all back on again. I have conversations with people every single day, 3 to 4 people a day, who have tried a 12-week challenge. I've done it before, yeah, I've been in really good shape before. Why aren't you in good shape now? That's one of the biggest questions I ask on any call that I do completely for free, for anyone who's interested in how I can help. I say, have you ever been in shape before? Of course, there's some people that haven't, but 8 out of 10 people always say yes. And I say, why are you not in shape right now? And that's the problem. It's the habits that they don't carry over from getting into shape, losing that body fat, losing the visceral fat, making themselves healthy. That's the problem. So if you found any of this valuable, like, hit the like button, drop a comment. If you kind of feel overwhelmed, you feel like you haven't made that progress, you feel like maybe you're in one of these states where you might be carrying visceral fat, you need some help. Maybe you're out of shape. Maybe you don't want to take your t-shirt off at the pool, the beach, on holiday. Maybe you're just sick of feeling the way that you feel. You don't know how to do it. Maybe you're sluggish, you've got low testosterone, you've got brain fog. I'm going to pin a link at the top of my comment list. It's going to be a direct link that you can book in a call with me. Like I said, it's free. There is no obligation. I'll spend 20 to 30 minutes getting to know you, your goals, where you're at, what your problems are, give you some help on the call. Like, no one leaves the call with nothing. And then I'll explain what I can do to help you. And if it sounds like something that works for you, let's do it. If not, I understand. I promise you're going to leave that call with something from it that you can act on your own life anyway. So guys, subscribe for more. I've got a few more videos like this that I really just want to help you guys with. This stuff will save the you in 10 years from now, in 5 years from now. So if you feel stuck, hit the link. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.